First demonstration of the CellAuto Synthesiser combined sequencer and 4-track looper. So, what is the microtonal, the CellAuto all about? It's about microtonal. You choose your scales, live tuning, 4-track audio of the synthesizer itself, and any external audio that you want to put into it. Combine it, loop it. It is also about a sequencer based around the game of life, an array of 8x8 arrays. You specify what the initial starting condition is, you specify what the rules of the life and death of the cells are, and away it goes and makes some calculations on the way, plays notes for you. And finally it mixes in what the synthesizer does, what you play as MIDI, and one stereo input, in this case a Lyra 8, which then passes through the Soma COSMOS and then back into the system here. So at the moment I've got the master recording there. So what does it sound like? So if you were to just play it as a synthesizer, go sound. We've got attack control. By the way, it's a 64 voice synthesizer. Each one of these notes all act independently. So you've got rise control, very sharp control if you want. And you've got control of the fall. And this is all controlled through the rotary encoders of the push. Want a bit of distortion? A folding clipper. It's also been included. Okay, so let's say you want to loop some of this stuff together. So for instance, I've got my Lyra here, sitting and waiting. Ooh, some weird sounds here. So let's set up for recording. I've got the ear arms, I've got a foot controller on the floor, and that will start. See that the loop is doing its thing. Okay, that's playing back for us. So now we could improvise something on top. Okay, so enough of the looping. To keep quiet. And most importantly, it's all controlled through the push controller. So important things that you'd want for a live recording: metronomes to advanced calculations, 2 metronomes, manually, one step at a time, refresh the screen, and there's also a 10-step sequencer in here with user assignable times in between each step. Microtonal, you've got an array of equations over here, which can be adjusted through these push buttons. So live tuning. You've also got a option between your standard just intonation, or if you want equal division of any interval you like, octave. Like at the moment this would be in 12 Edo, for instance, and let's set up that for 12 Edo. And so now what's happening is every time I press one of these, that is controlling this end parameter here. And what we should hear, so let's set this into row column format. So semitones, let's see where we get that. Interesting, it's going backwards. Well, no wonder. The interval has been set to inverse of an octave, so let's fix that. Now we've got an octave. And we've got the row increment at 7 semitones, so we should hear perfect fifths. Yep, which we did. So even if you don't want to use the Game of Life, you can still use it as a standard synthesizer. And let's say you wanted to do Edo 31, no problems. Let's make the increment 10, that's probably more suitable. Let's see what happens. And by the way, because we're doing equal division of a interval, in this case an octave, we have an isomorphic keyboard. Maybe one step is too fine, I don't know, try 3, see what happens. Okay, so that gives you a rough overview of what the synthesizer and the capabilities of this instrument can do. Let's dive into some of the details. So, microtonal. Basically, it works off this equation here, which is a combination of your just intonation ratio of numerator divided by denominator, and raised to some power of an exponent numerator and a divisor numerator there. Standard pitch adjustments for reference frequency, there we go. And I'm doing this all through these rotary encoder controls. Also there is a limit on the maximum frequency you can use, in this case a folding clipper. At the moment it's 15 kilohertz, which is a good place to start. So it's a one-dimensional scale, however it's played on a two-dimensional playing surface. So how you assign where each of the notes go, that's controlled through this system here. So sequential, so you've basically got, in this case, what have you got? We've got, let's change it back to 12 Edo. So you should have semitones. And then, there we go. So that's sequential mode. And if any of you have used the Push2 on Ableton Live, you'll be familiar with that terminology. And then of course, what we've already showed before, the row column method. So at the moment, each column goes up a semitone, that's this fella. and each row steps up by 7 semitones. That's this guy here. What you may have also noticed is that there is a stereo panning effect happening here. So over here the stereo spread, if I press here, or one of the higher columns, here's on the right. That gives you a bit of movement. The other thing that you'll probably see is that we have a VST added into this. So that's a third-party VST. In this case, I'm using the RAM VST. You can load any VST you like, or you can turn it off. Or back on again. There we go. So let's have a look at this game of life thing, or this cellular automation. What on earth is it? Some of you may have remembered back in the days, the 1970s, a fellow called John Horton Conway came up with this game of life. So basically you have an array. Each of the cells can either be on or off, alive or dead. And so let's get that going and have some fun with it. So at the moment I've got the rules here established for the game of life, though we can have different rules applied. So let's see. Initially we'll start with a nice simple one. This should be a pulsar. So if I advance this one step at a time, next. Ooh. It's playing on its own now. Manually advance one step at a time, one calculation at a time. So basically what it does, it looks at the home cell and looks at all its neighbouring cells, and according to the rules that you set up, it then determines whether this cell lives or dies. And then it goes on to the next cell, does the same calculation based on the rules you've defined. Okay, so if we now press this button here, it automatically advances from one step to another. Maybe a bit fast. We can adjust that metronome period. That's this fella here. This also doubles up as a master clock, so you can have that synchronized back to start and stop, record and play operations here with the looper. So let's try some other things while this is going live. Ooh, that's interesting. And you may notice in adjusting the reference frequency live, you can do it. Okay, that seems to have a stable pattern working. So let's see what happens if you go and change, let's say, the number of divisions per interval. So let's make it a bit less. That's 11 Edo, 10 Edo, 9 Edo, 8, 7 Edo. Okay, so this is a division of the octave. So let's muck around with the size of the frame. So currently the ratio is 0:1. Let's make it something different. So now we are dividing the ratio of 3:1 into 7 equal divisions. It's all live. Adjust it while you do the performance. So let's muck around a little bit with the denominator, see what happens. Now we're dividing a perfect fifth. Well, that's pretty dense, isn't it? Maybe just a little bit too dense. So we'll knock out that. Neat. At any time, you can stop the calculation of cells, play it like an ordinary synthesizer, which at the same time is setting the cells. So these ones have been made active, they're made alive. So if I go here to refresh, you'll see, oh yes, that's gone to red. We can also swap it over, so these become dead when we press them. So let's see that in action. Where is that? It's here somewhere. Here we go. So if I toggle this, I can make these cells die. So we'll just make that back to bringing life when you play the MIDI keyboard, and let's see how this simulation goes. Interesting. And we can perturb these cells live. And we can bring in our external synthesizer as well. Oh, that's an interesting pattern. Okay, so by now you have an idea of the game of life, basic controls. Let's have a look at the Cell Automata rules themselves. So they are shown here pictorially as a series of on-offs. We've got for let's say a home cell here, it has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 neighbours, plus a knife, including itself. So basically what it does, it goes and has a look at, from any home cell, are these fellows on or off, and that forms a 9-bit number, and then that goes into the lookup table of these rules. So for any of these 9-bit numbers, it looks up the rule. If the rule says 1, then it gets life. If it says 0, that cell dies in the next iteration. So let's have party time with this. What I'll do is first initialize the rules to nothing. So if I play this and have it on, nothing loops. Let's put some random stuff into this. So I'm going to say, let's say at a point, that's 0.4 percentage probability that a cell in the rules will turn on. Oh, there we go. So let's see what that happens, what that does for us. That's a bit too sparse. Let's add a few more and see what happens. She's still a bit quiet. So let's see if we go and put all these fellows on, see what happens. Next. Oh, very short-lived. Let's put a few more in. Oh, here we go. So whereas the game of life is an isomorphing arrangement of life and death, a rule that applies equally, let's say, in the horizontal direction applies equally in the vertical direction. Whereas what we've done here, this is totally random, almost. So a rule that applies in the X direction may not equally apply in the vertical direction. Different rules for vertical and horizontal. Okay, so what we can do is make a copy of these rules for ourselves. So that's what this is for. So the rules are in the matrix called R. We'll put them into memory. You can view what's sitting inside here. So you've got 512 different rules applied. And this actually can then be saved off to file if you wish. Wrong one. So then there's a file. There we go. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. So you can recall that at a later time. Okay. Let's just reset that. What's next? So let's have some fun with this. Ending this with a performance on the Soma Lyra and just a free improvisation on the synthesizer itself, Cell Auto. So I've got some pre-selected options here. We'll just raise him out. Let me go for time, 22 minutes. Better finish this off. So we'll recall something from a previous iteration. Basically a game of life rule with some random mutations applied. We have that now into memory. We'll send that from the memory back into the matrix. Voila, there we go. So, what does this sound like? Let's have a go. let's just finish this off. Recording stop. And recording save. Let's have a look what we have in memory. Okay, no clipping, it's nice. By the way, there are built-in limiters, both for the synthesizer itself and then when you mix the synthesizer and external audio. So we better write this out. Okay, give it a name. Thanks for watching.